You're listening to Smart Bites, where big learning comes in small, digestible bites. Each episode, we break down fascinating topics from science and history to life skills and creativity into quick, fun lessons you can enjoy anytime, anywhere. So grab your headphones, open up your mind, and get ready to take a Smart Bite. Well, hey y'all, welcome to Smart Bites, learning in small digestible bites, where we're serving up stories and lessons that go down easy. I'm your host, Moonie. Now, before we get started, I want to take a quick moment to say that I appreciate your patience. I've been away for a few weeks because, well, life happens sometimes. Things get busy, unexpected moments come along, and you've just got to tend to what matters the most. But I'm back on track now, feeling good, and I'm ready to cast again. And I'll tell you what else. I recently had a birthday, and well, you know how that goes. You start reflecting a little more, thinking about where you've been, how things used to be, and the lessons that stick with you over time. And that's exactly what inspired today's episode. I'm a Southern soul, through and through, raised back when Sundays were sacred. Front porches were our social media, and the only thing stronger than your sweet tea was your sense of community. Today, we're taking a bite out of the past. What it was like growing up in the Deep South about 50 years ago. 50 years ago, life in the Deep South moved at a slower rhythm. Not lazy, just intentional. People worked hard, sure, but they didn't rush through living. Kids spent their days outside, running barefoot, climbing trees, and staying out until the sky turned a deep orange, and that meant you better be heading home. And when Mom called you from the porch, you didn't pretend not to hear. That was a summons, not a suggestion. And if you needed directions, you didn't open an app. You stopped and asked somebody. And more often than not, you'd get the directions with the story and a reminder to tell your mom that they said hello. Life back then taught patience. It taught presence. You didn't scroll through the moments. You lived them. So as a little lesson bite, slow down. You can't microwave meaning. Now, if you really want to understand Southern life, you've got to understand Sundays, because Sundays weren't just a day, they were an experience. The morning started early. You put on your Sunday best, whether you liked it or not, and you headed to church. And let me tell you, those church pews, they had a way of teaching patience all on their own, especially when the sermon ran long and your stomach started reminding you about what was waiting afterwards. And if you started to get a little restless, maybe whispering, fidgeting, or not quite paying attention, well, Mama had her own way of bringing you back to reality. Just a quick little pinch on the back of your arm. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic, but message received immediately. You'd sit up straight so fast, you'd think that you'd seen the light yourself. Now me, I learned early how to stay out of trouble, at least for the most part. I'd keep my pen and paper handy and practice my cursive while the preacher was up there teaching about how to live. Loops and lines, A's and B's. Just writing nice and neat, trying to look busy enough to stay on Mama's good side while halfway listening. And truth be told, some of those lessons stuck, both the ones on paper and the ones in the pulpit. But church wasn't just about the sermon. It was about community. It was about hugs at the door, handshakes that lasted a little longer than necessary, and folks asking how your whole family was doing, not just you. And when it came to the main event, Sunday dinner, now this wasn't just a normal meal. it was full of production. Kitchens turned into something close to organized chaos. Cast iron skillets working overtime, biscuits rising like they had had something to prove, and somebody always sneaking to taste before everything hit the table. You had fried chicken crispy enough to make you close your eyes on the first bite. Greens cooked low and slow. Macaroni that could bring peace to a family argument. And desserts that didn't have to ask permission to be sweet. But what made it special wasn't just the food. It was the gathering. Everybody sat down together. Stories got told, some true, some stretched just enough to be interesting. Laughter filled the room, and for a little while, everything felt right. And if something or someone was missing, oh, they noticed, because back then, people paid attention. If a neighbor was going through hard times, they didn't have to ask for help. Help just showed up, usually in the form of a casserole and conversation on the porch. That's how love worked. It wasn't always spoken, but it was always shown. And yes, we had our sayings like bless your heart, which could mean sympathy, or it could mean you tried, or that's what counts. You had to learn the difference. It was practically a second language. Remember that real connection takes effort. Sit down, share a meal, and make time for people, because that's where life really happens. Now let's talk a little bit about chalk dust and character. School days. School days back then had a way of shaping you, not just your mind, but your character. The buildings weren't fancy, and the supplies weren't always new. But what we had was enough, and somehow it always worked. Teachers carried themselves with the kind of authority you didn't question. Not because they were strict for the sake of it, but because they genuinely cared about who you were becoming. They didn't just want you to pass a test. They wanted you to grow up right. You learned quickly that respect wasn't optional. Yes, ma'am, and no, sir, weren't just good manners. They were expected. And if you forgot, well, let's just say you remembered it the next time. Lessons didn't stop at reading and arithmetic. You learned responsibility, like turning your homework in on time because there wasn't an email safety net waiting for you. You learned accountability because if you messed up at school, somehow your parents already knew before you had made it home. Still not sure how that worked. Small towns had their own communication system. And then there was recess, the best part of the day. No screens, no devices, just imagination. Kickball games that felt like championships, jump rope competitions that turned serious real quick, and friendships built through shared laughter and the occasional disagreement that got settled by the next game. You came back inside with dusty shoes, sweaty faces, and stories to tell. And maybe that's the thing. We didn't realize it at the time, but those little moments were building something bigger. They were teaching us how to interact, how to respect differences, and how to lose gracefully and win humbly. Even the simple act of writing in cursive taught patience. You couldn't rush through it. You had to slow down and get it right. Remember, character is built in the small moments. How you speak, how you treat others, and how you show up when nobody's watching. Now, somewhere along the way, things started to change. It didn't happen all at once. It was gradual, like the volume knob on life just kept getting turned up a little at the time. I remember watching television every morning in black and white, the Mickey Mouse Club actually, right before I'd get on the school bus. I also remember our first colored television. At first, television was a novelty. Families would gather around one screen watching together and laughing together. But over time, that one screen turned into a few, and then before you know it, there was one in every room. Supper tables got quieter, not because people didn't have anything to say, but because something else had their attention. And then came faster living. Drive-thrus replaced most of our sit-down meals. Conversations got shorter. "I'm busy" became the most common phrase you'd ever hear. Back then, if your car broke down on the side of the road, it wasn't long before somebody pulled over to help. It didn't matter if they knew you or not. Nowadays, folks might slow down, but they keep driving. Not always out of meanness, maybe just out of habit or fear. Life got so full that people just stopped making room. I remember neighbors sitting out on their porches in the evenings, just talking across yards. No rush, no agenda, just being present. Nowadays, most evenings those same porches sit empty, while everyone's inside, so-called connected to the world, but somehow disconnected from each other. Now don't get me wrong, progress brought us a lot of good. There's no denying that. But it also brought a kind of noise that makes it harder to hear what really matters. And the truth is, the value that we grew up on didn't disappear, they just got quieter. They're still there every time someone holds a door open, every time someone checks on a neighbor, every time someone chooses to sit and listen instead of rushing off. So just because life gets a little louder doesn't mean you have to. Protect your peace and your people. Now, as we settle into the quiet of the evening, let's really think on this, because this part matters. The world today is faster, louder, and more connected than ever before. But at the same time, a lot of folks feel more disconnected than they ever have. And I think about how it used to be. I think about how if someone in town lost a loved one, you didn't have to wonder if they were okay because people showed up. Food covered the counters. Chairs filled the living room, and nobody had to sit in their grief alone. I also think about how kids used to grow up surrounded by voices, parents, grandparents, and neighbors, all pouring into them, guiding them, correcting them, encouraging them. It wasn't perfect, but it was present. And I think about those simple evenings on the porch and how they could fix more than what we had realized. Just sitting there talking about your day, watching the sun go down. It gave you something we don't make enough time for anymore. Space to breathe. These days, we've got calendars full of commitments, but not always room for connection. We've got quick answers, but not always deep conversations. And that's why the world could use more of what we had back then. Not because the past was perfect, but because it was intentional. It was people choosing to care, choosing to show up, choosing to slow down long enough to actually see each other. Imagine what would change if we brought even a little of that back. If we checked on our neighbors again. If we put our phones down at the dinner table. And if we made time, not just for what's urgent, but for what's important. Because at the end of the day, it's not the speed of life that fulfills you, it's the depth of it. So, here's your final smart bite. Slow down when you can. Make time for people who matter. And don't wait for the right moment to be kind. Just be kind anyway. Growing up Southern 50 years ago taught us that life's richest moments aren't the loud ones, they're the quiet ones. The ones where you're sitting close, laughing easy, and feeling like you belong. And maybe, just maybe, that's what we've been missing. Thanks for sitting a spell with me on Smart Bites, where we have learning in small, digestible bites. where we believe the best lessons in life don't have to be complicated, just meaningful. Until next time, keep your stories honest, your sweet tea, and your heart wide open. Stay curious, keep learning, and be blessed. And I'll see you again next time.